Hi, Miss.
Hi, Stace.
And hello, listeners, and welcome to the Digestible Podcast, where we bring you all the health and wellness information that you need in an amount of time that your busy day can handle. And we make it easily digestible. Get it? Who's here today, Miss?
Stacy, today we have Carrie with us.
Is it? We have a Carrie with us?
A lovely Carrie. Not our sister Carrie, but a lovely Carrie nonetheless.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Missy and I have another sister. There are 3 girls in our family, Stacy, Missy, Carrie. And so it was kind of fun to interview a Carrie.
It was.
But today we're going to bring you a new Carrie.
A new Carrie. Carrie Kelly. Yes. Carrie Kelly is an RDN and BA. She's a registered dietitian with a degree in food and nutrition from Georgia Southern University. She's spent her career blending clinical nutrition with natural wellness and now works with Standard Process and their MediHerb line, focusing on whole food supplements and herbal medicine. Carrie brings a down-to-earth perspective on how adaptogenic herbs can help us build resilience and support overall health.
And she's amazing, and I feel like there's so much information in that brain of hers.
It was really neat, and we learned a lot, not just about what the herbs do, but where they come from and how they've been used throughout history. So it's just really interesting, and I actually brought it up in a dinner conversation last night. I forgot to tell you. I talked about ashwagandha, and the guys were like, "Really?" And so it's fun. It's really great information, and it's actionable, usable information. So enjoy.
100%.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Stacy. Happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you. I think it's very timely that we're having you this week after having Jack on to talk about the Standard Process Farm. And now we want to ask you all sorts of questions about some of the products you carry.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have heard of some of these herbs, but if we just back it up and ask the question, what is an adaptogenic herb?
Yes. So we're digging deep right at the start, but not really. Adaptogenic herbs are a class of herbs that really help the body adapt to where it wants or needs to be. And simply put, life can be a roller coaster. Emotional, physical stresses can often have big highs and big lows. So adaptogenic herbs help flatten out a roller coaster of life to make it more of a kiddie roller coaster where it's a more gentle highs and lows. And that is super important as adaptogenic herbs shine for supporting endurance during fatigue, like if you think of chronic illnesses. It's certainly most widely known as help to reduce stress. Adaptogenic herbs help support our immune system, and they absolutely support our neuroendocrine system. They shine for impaired sleep. So I hear all day, every day, people are really suffering from a lack of sleep. Adaptogenic herbs help improve sleep quality, which is very important for restorative health. And it also helps our brain with focusing and mood. And so we can't always change what life brings, but adaptogenic herbs help us adapt. So simply put, adaptogenic herbs are just a class of different herbs. And that's, so there's different types actually. We'll do a little bit more of a deep dive into the second leading sought out herb in the US known as ashwagandha. But examples of other adaptogenic herbs would be echinacea, known for our immune health, and licorice. And those are just a few others.
Wow. I never thought of licorice as an adaptogenic herb, I guess. Ashwagandha is one you hear about all the time, which is so cool. It almost sounds like it's magical. And I don't think I knew. So post-cancer treatment, my integrative doctor recommended I start taking ashwagandha, or it was a product that had some ashwagandha in it, and it was to like bring my energy back. And then a couple of years later, everyone's like, oh, you take ashwagandha to sleep. And I was like, wait, I was taking it to bring my energy up. and you're taking it to sleep. That doesn't make any sense to me. And that's when I started learning about adaptogenic herbs. And I was fascinated by that concept. So what is ashwagandha? Where does it come from? Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, Staci, if I may just assist you with what you were just asking, like as you're recovering from cancer and how you were recommended to take something with ashwagandha for healing, let's just say, or to restore your stamina. That's because it is an adaptogen. And I just want to highlight that adaptogens work in the body because they work on the HPA axis, which is just a short way of saying the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And essentially, that is in our body, it's designed as a messenger. So the hypothalamus and pituitary are glands in our brain, and they send hormones, which we can think of hormones as messengers, down to our adrenals, which are located, they sit right on top of our kidneys. And so it's through this HPA axis, which is our stress response in the body, that adaptogens help assist in a very natural, safe way. So probably, after having stress, the emotional, the obviously the physical aspects of your body, it's like ashwagandha as an adaptogen absolutely helps regulate your stress response. It's so important because when people are under long chronic durations of stress, there is major repercussions such as cardiovascular health and diabetes. It's in the adrenals that really where cortisol is manufactured. So ashwagandha helps blunt the amount of cortisol in our blood. And that's what's really blunting systemic, like long-term, let's just say, risk of developing cardiovascular diabetes. And this is where it helps with brain fog and sleep. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit as to why adaptogens are, how they're working in our body. And so does that help a little bit as to?
It sounds like if your body's in sort of like survival mode, which is when your body releases cortisol, like we need to do all the things to survive, hold on to fat. Maybe it could impact your cardiovascular activity and all of that. If it's calming that cortisol, if it's keeping that cortisol from being released into your blood, all of those fight or flight type of responses are kind of quieted. And that's what ashwagandha can do. And that would, of course, lead to brain fog. Okay. I have a question because it sounds like, if I'm just, the average person on the street, I would say, well, that sounds just sort of like, like a prescription anxiety medication. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, so I would say that adaptogenic herbs versus prescription drugs, they're very different. I mean, the obvious thing is that herbs are more natural. It's from a plant. Drugs are more single agents, like, they're chemically made to do a specific job. So when a psychiatrist is prescribing SSRI or any type of prescription to help with stress, it's chemical and it's very specific and focused, right? Herbs, though, are just so vast in their mechanism of actions. So let's just take ashwagandha, for example. It does more than just adapt to stress. And we can get into that in a little bit. So that's the importance of when you're thinking about herbal support, the highest priority is to seek out reputable herbs because it is the Wild West. Herbs are phenomenal when they're high quality and they have zero side effects, actually. So beyond the historical use, modern research shows impressive outcomes using actually superior study designs like double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trials with adaptogens. And these quality outcomes are only shown when someone's taking a high-quality source of the herb. So in the US, herbs fall under the food classification by the FDA. And so, unfortunately, many of us, if we're going to, say, Costco to purchase an herb, the bottle can say it has that herb, but it might be from the leaf of the plant. But a true herbalist knows that the real constituents, the power of that herb, is in the roots. So it could be very misleading. And that's where we go into a little bit of the Wild West. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I really encourage someone, if they're contemplating approaching their stress from an herbal or a drug, if they want to pursue herbal first, let's say, I highly recommend that they're seeking out a professional herbalist or a practitioner that has knowledge in this area.
It's so interesting because I hear all the time people are like, oh, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this, it didn't work. And I'm like, well, where did you get it from? And I'm like, why don't you try a professional or medical grade brand? Because those are companies that have done the research and know what belongs in the product.
And they source it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what puts a bad reputation to it. Like, right? Like, oh, I've taken turmeric, it doesn't do anything. Well, yeah, probably because it was not the real rhizome of the plant, you know?
Well,
so.
I think that's a perfect, almost like a perfect bridge into turmeric. But I wanted to ask one more question about ashwagandha because
yeah, please.
So if someone was feeling some anxiety and they wanted to try ashwagandha, is it one of those herbs that if you take it, you feel an immediate response, or is it like, I don't know, I think Vitex berry, you have to have it in your system for a while before it really has you really can feel the benefits? How does ashwagandha work?
Well, when you're embarking on taking ashwagandha, it most notably is helpful for taking it long term. And you would want to take it for several weeks to notice a difference. Although I will say a lot of people notice that their sleep is improved with a few nights of taking ashwagandha forte. And so everyone's different, but you might notice some effects sooner. But it's certainly an herb that you'd want to take long term.
Okay.
Huge fan of ashwagandha forte from Standard Process. I have to say I take it every day and
I
have
do
for a
too.
long time, and I'm never giving it up.
Yeah,
I was just taking it during the days of the month I'm not on my progesterone, because I'm on my progesterone just 14 days out of my cycle. And progesterone is very calming. So I was just taking the ashwagandha for the first 2 weeks when I wasn't on the progesterone, just to keep everything chill. But it sounds like I could, if I wanted to, take it the whole month. I could just keep taking
absolutely could. That's very interesting.
Okay.
Did you find benefit to taking it for that duration?
That's a complicated question. Only because, Carrie, when I first started taking it, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, I'm pretty sure related to perimenopause. And I was like, what do I need to take? I will take them all. And I started a few things at one time.
Yes.
So I actually don't know what's working. But I'm glad whatever's working is, and I do not want to experiment at all by eliminating and starting fresh, because I don't like feeling that way. It was awful.
Right. So you have a good thing going on, so that's good.
Right. But you're suggesting that I just keep taking it.
Yeah, so
throughout the month. Okay.
Herbalists would say that you'll see the best effects of taking ashwagandha. You'll see the best heightened effects after 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So I need to be
interesting.
Okay. I'll change what I'm doing.
And as someone who can't take any hormones and doesn't take any prescriptions of any kind, like ashwagandha, I think just is what makes me calm and collected and sleep well and all the things, because I can't take any of the hormones, and
so for you it works. For you it's very helpful and you can feel it.
Yeah.
That's a good barometer.
So
Commonly, people refer to ashwagandha as nature's gift to humanity. And it also is known as the strength and stamina of a stallion. I mean, these are really profound statements for an herb. And ashwagandha is essentially an evergreen shrub, but it's in the root where we find the real active botanicals known as withania. And withania has been studied in many applications of health. Namely, I'll just name a few areas where ashwagandha or withania has been researched for profound health benefits. One is thyroid health. And withania could be very helpful for our hypothyroid patients or people with low thyroid. It absolutely nourishes the conversion of the inactive hormone of T4 to the active form of T3. We know stress inhibits this conversion, so ashwagandha absolutely could be so helpful for our low thyroid patients. And then it absolutely helps with sperm parameters, so it could be very helpful for husbands and wives, men and women trying to conceive. So, I mean, I am a perfect example of someone who had struggled with conceiving, and it's very stressful. Like month after month, you're like, oh, you're so brought down when you get your period, and it's just kind of a catch-20. You can't help but to be stressed. So ashwagandha could absolutely help reduce the stress for the female. And then for the men, it helps improve sperm parameters. And then later in life for men, ashwagandha helps with andropause. It absolutely helps with like the grumpy old men. It helps with increasing muscle mass. And it does this as it boosts testosterone and DHEA. So it helps with building muscle.
I didn't know that. That's great. Okay.
Interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I didn't know about the thyroid either. I'm just going, really? Wow.
I know. So this is like the cool thing about herbs. They cover so many different areas. And ashwagandha, I will finally just say, it's so safe. It's really helpful for children, for anxiety. It's very safe for kids. There's no drug herbal interactions with it. So you can use it with confidence. You can use it not knowing where cortisol levels are. It's very safe, and it is also safe.
It's safe and great for everybody. So like
Yes.
ashwagandha forte, the dose I think is 1 a day. I think that's right.
I think it's one twice a day.
Is it 1 twice a day? Oh, there you go. Good to know. I should read the bottle more carefully. So could somebody, I don't want to step into this where I shouldn't, but is that the same dose for a child then too?
Yeah, so ashwagandha forte has 10 milligrams of ethanolodes per tablet. For a child under 100 pounds, 1 a day would absolutely work very well. And you'd probably dose it optimally at the height of stress. So maybe before school or before bed if they are anxious and not sleeping well. For adults, I've noticed that 2 a day is usually what works. And a notable testimony that I always think about when ashwagandha forte is brought up is in 2020 at the height of COVID, when our world was crashing in. I had a doctor who had a patient, a big man, like she described him as like 6'4", very big build, owned his own business. His employees weren't showing up. We know the drama that COVID wrecked, right? He also had turmoil in his personal life. And he came back and was saying, like, I need more of the ashwagandha. I need more of the ashwagandha. He's like, to put it bluntly, shit has hit the fan, but I'm not overreacting like I normally would. I hope you don't mind with my inappropriate language, but
That's fine.
and that's just 2 little small circles of a rich with Loads, 20 milligrams, and it really, really helped him to remain calm that you otherwise would be really, that's pretty impressive. So.
Yeah. That is
Yeah,
good. That is
absolutely.
impressive.
It's really cool. All right,
Okay.
so where does ashwagandha come from even? Like, where is it grown?
Yeah, so we source ours from India. Standard Process has an exclusive partnership with MediHerb. So in the US, we are the sole distributors of MediHerb. And MediHerb, based in Australia, sources herbs from around the globe. So when you ask where is ashwagandha from, well, it is from India because that's where it's best grown. And
It's not going to grow well in the Midwest on the farm.
Yeah, no, not so much. Not so much. Exactly, Staci. So this is an example of how quality really, really, really is paramount. Many herb sources herbs from around the globe. They're tested and then they are extracted with a cold, slow drip percolation, resulting in the most powerful excipients that are found in the bottle.
Nice. Good
Wow.
to know.
Yeah.
Should we move on to turmeric?
Yeah, let's talk about turmeric because everybody takes turmeric, knows about turmeric. If you don't know about turmeric, you need to, and you're going to learn it right now.
Yeah.
Some people pronounce it turmeric. Either way, we'll roll with it. Turmeric is a flowering plant, and it's prominent in India. So we think of a lot of our Indian culture, they commonly use turmeric as a culinary spice in their food all day. And again, with turmeric, the real rich constituents are found in the root or the rhizome. And that's where the yellow color of turmeric comes from. This is the active constituents in turmeric is known as curcumin. So we float around the name turmeric or curcumin, but we can just think of it as the same for our purposes. Turmeric, as a classification of herb, it actually is an antioxidant, it's an anti-inflammatory, and it's a depurative, meaning that it purifies blood. So I like to coin turmeric as the herbal multivitamin and also as nature's aspirin because it absolutely helps with pain management.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Everything good going on in the body, turmeric gives it a nudge. So this is absolutely something that we should take every day. There's no harm in taking it every day for everyday health. And so when we're thinking of turmeric, this absolutely is probably the most widely researched herb on earth. There is just piles of research behind turmeric, curcumin. And it's been shown in research to help reduce muscle pain from intense exercise, arthritis, type 2 diabetes. It helps with irritable bowel disease, even kidney disease, and aortic stiffness in obese men. So it's so powerful. And you can kind of see how this is so vast for so many of people in our world today.
Wow. And I know
Yeah.
you probably can't speak to this, Carrie, but I have heard quite a bit of, turmeric being important in preventing cancer or in cancer treatment. And I'm sure you're not legally allowed to talk about that, but when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my OBGYN was like, here, reach out to this scientist or researcher and find out about turmeric because you need to be taking it. And I did. I reached out to him and he emailed me back, which was really nice. And he was like, you need to be taking this massive dose of turmeric. It's like,
Oh,
okay.
wow. And I'm so glad you did. You've been cancer-free for how long?
Yeah, 13 years.
Yeah,
Knock
amazing.
on wood.
I know.
Yeah.
Lifestyle and
Yeah.
herbs and diet and amazing. I'm so happy
Exactly.
for you.
So,
Yay.
um,
Does black pepper help you absorb turmeric?
So
More.
some studies will show that combining curcumin with black pepper, yes, helps the absorption. But then for every study you see that, there's others that don't really show that powerful effect. So, after we shine the light of all the beauty of turmeric, it's such a, it's not very well absorbed. So just cooking with turmeric, you're not necessarily getting the therapeutic dosing. So,
Okay.
what
right. I keep
measure-
hearing that. It's like one of the hardest ones to absorb of all the.
Yeah.
So then what's going to
supplements.
help us? What would help us get more of it
Well,
into our
I
system?
could speak to MediHerb in the sense that MediHerb has developed new technology whereby we are combining the curcuminoids with fenugreek, which simply is a soluble fiber. And that combination, fenugreek seed, slows the inhibition of breaking down the curcumin in the liver. So the true benefits of a turmeric require curcumin to reach the bloodstream. And there, it's very promiscuous. It goes to where the body needs to dampen down our inflammation. That's what it does. Only if it's,
Okay.
high quality. So
it sounds like if we have high quality turmeric from the correct parts of the plant, because you'd mentioned that earlier with ashwagandha, and you take it with something like fenugreek, which prevents the breakdown so that it can get into our system in the form that it needs to in order to do its work, and then it just goes
That's-
everywhere and does it?
yeah. Yes,
Did
that's
I get
exactly
that?
how it works.
Okay. Cool.
It is so cool,
It is
right?
Right. So I recently went to a dermatologist, and they said before I had this treatment done, they wanted me to go off turmeric
Okay.
because of the blood thinning effects. Is that a thing?
Yes, that's definitely a thing. That's wise advice from your doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some cautions when it comes to taking turmeric, and most definitely we want to shy away from taking turmeric if someone is on a blood thinning medication, or
Okay.
like let's just say before surgery, we do not want to thin our blood because potentially turmeric does act as a blood thinner in itself. There's
Okay.
other times when someone should shy away from taking turmeric, and that is if they're experiencing gallstones or have a biliary obstruction, or if they just have a real acidic stomach. Those are times when, no, do not take turmeric.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good to know.
That is good to know. So, but probably best before you take turmeric, talk to a doctor or
Practitioner.
herbalist. Yeah, that's familiar with how herbs work in your body, because they'll know what your medical history is and maybe when it's okay
Yes,
to take it
exactly.
and not. Okay. The biliary, I don't even know what word you just said. Is that in the kidneys? That's the kidneys,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Woohoo! I knew a little bit of physiology. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. That's great. Okay. So why don't we go to our final questions that we
All
ask
right,
all our
sounds good.
guests? Okay.
Yeah.
Carrie, if you could give our listeners one takeaway or recommended to do after today's episode, what would it be?
So, after listening to the podcast today, I would like people to consider herbs as medicine. Really. Today's culture really doesn't give enough credibility to what our ancestors have relied on. And in a society where we're generally accustomed to quick fixes, I encourage people to seek out herbs, ideally through a licensed herbalist or a licensed healthcare practitioner and doctor. And Staci, you are a true example to this in the sense that you restored your health after having been diagnosed with cancer through a lot of work of being proactive and learning about herbs and taking them in a very, very precise manner. But it was through your lifestyle that really you can put that in the rear view mirror 13 years past, right? Because you are the picture perfect of health. So herbs are
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, but it's true. But herbs are great, but the backbone for unleashing the real power is to nourish our bodies. And nourishing our bodies with exercise, obviously good nutrition, and stress management. And so that's the message I'd like to really hone in on after our discussion.
That's a great message.
Today.
Everyone should hear that message.
For sure.
They should. All right, Carrie, here at the Digestible Podcast, we like to say, don't panic, just pivot. Is there a pivot or small change that you've made in your life that you're proud of and that you're willing to share with us?
So I pivoted about a year ago with my oral health regimen. And this was after being in Florida with my parents, and they both have periodontal disease, or where their gums are receding. And maybe it's hereditary, maybe not. I'm not positive, but I don't want that. So I've been, I've always flossed and brushed my teeth, but over the course of the past year, I invested in a water pick, and that has definitely strengthened the gums to stave off a lot of gum receding. And really, when we're thinking of all body health, there's a lot to be said about oral health as far as it relates to cardiovascular health and microbes. So that's where I've pivoted, I will say, in the past year of addressing a more concentrated and a little bit more of a time-consuming effort at night with my oral health care.
I like that. You're motivating me to order a water pick. I had been toying with that idea for a little bit. And one of my boys just asked me to get him one, so he's been using it. So now, all right. If you did it, I'll do it.
I like it. It really helps you'll like it, Staci. It helps your mouth feel even more fresh and clean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. That's great.
Good tip.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Carrie.
you, Carrie, for your time.
This was fun.
This was so fun.
Thank you for listening to the Digestible Podcast with our guest, Carrie Kelly of Standard Process.
Carrie asked us to add that although all Standard Process products are put through rigorous testing and are manufactured at the highest quality standards, the MediHerb line specifically is manufactured in Australia, where herbs are regulated in the same manner as pharmaceuticals.
If you like today's episode, please share us with others. It's the best compliment you can give us. If you have questions or comments, please email us at info@digestiblestrategies.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And remember, don't panic, just pivot.
The content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We are not medical professionals, and the views expressed here are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any health conditions. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making any health-related decisions.